Right now on Morning News Now, price check. Amazon is in the hot seat on the heels of a sweeping new antitrust lawsuit from the FTC. It alleges the e-commerce giant leveraged its industry power to warp product prices across the internet. We're going to dig into the fine print and what the case could mean for your online shopping experience. Also breaking overnight, we have a deal. As of 12:01 this morning, Hollywood's writers can get back to work. We've got more on the tentative agreement between the WGA and the big studios as the actors' walkout continues. Plus, forging history, President Biden has now become the first sitting president to join striking workers on the picket line. His message to America's auto workers as former President Trump prepares to follow in the current president's pro-labor footsteps tonight. And taking the mound for one parent, it was an emotional Phillies debut over the weekend that proves once and for all there is crying in baseball. Good morning. Good to have you with us. I'm Joe Fryer. Savannah is off today. This morning, Amazon is facing more legal troubles over the business practices of its online mega marketplace. The Federal Trade Commission, the FTC, sued Amazon yesterday, alleging the e-commerce giant is stifling fair competition. The lawsuit is backed by the attorneys general of 17 states, and it argues that Amazon is a monopoly. The FTC alleges that the tech giant's anti-competitive practices put pressure on sellers to agree to their terms and inflates the price of goods, which is then passed on to their tens of millions of customers. Amazon is fighting back. The company's leadership released a statement in response, saying in part, the FTC's focus has radically departed from its mission of protecting consumers and competition. The practices the FTC is challenging have helped to spur competition and innovation across the retail industry. For more, let's bring in NBC News legal analyst Danny Savallo. So, Danny, this was a highly anticipated move by the Biden administration, which has been trying to enforce antitrust laws. Walk us through this lawsuit. How significant is it?
We have a capitalistic system where if you build a widget and you're really good at building your widget, you can dominate the widget industry. Unless you dominate it too much, in which case it's illegal because you have what's called a monopoly. And the FTC is the government watchdog, so to speak, that goes after companies that engage in monopolistic practices. And that's essentially what the government here is arguing, that's what Amazon is doing. It's using its massive market power to hold down smaller competitors and would-be competitors, people who would like to enter into the industry. One allegation, for example, one of the ones that I think is the most compelling to me, is that allegedly Amazon takes other competitors who are offering a product at lower prices and puts them so low down in the search results that they get no business at all. That way, they can artificially, supposedly, elevate or inflate prices and keep them at a kind of cartel-like set price that is artificial and not based on supply and demand. Now, the challenge here is for the government that to what degree is this improper monopolistic practices, or to what degree is it just good old-fashioned competition?
My understanding is these are hard cases for the FTC to win. I mean, what does the FTC have to prove to win the case?
They have to show that Amazon went beyond simply competing in the industry and essentially put its thumb on the scale, that it unfairly competed and used its power to hold down would-be competitors. But, Joe, you're exactly right. It's a gray area. To one juror or to one fact finder, the same kind of conduct may seem more like, hey, that's crossing the line. But to another person, maybe a small business owner who has scrapped his way up to the top, he might think, hey, man, it's all fair game in the industry.
So how long can a lawsuit like this play out for? Are there any chances that Amazon settles it all?
There are huge chances that Amazon settles. This is a large lawsuit. It doesn't appear that the government is looking to break up the company. That's sometimes the remedy or the relief sought in these cases. I looked at the complaint. They are saying they're not leaving out what they call structural relief. It's a possibility, but the main goal is to basically stop Amazon from doing this. So that's good news for Amazon. It doesn't appear the government is primarily looking to break them up the way they did the airlines or some other monopoly in American history. So in this case, what instead they're looking for is to basically stop the practices. But that doesn't mean this isn't a large case with a lot of parties. 17 states have joined in, all alleging their own violations of state law. This is a case that will, if you're a betting person, it will settle. A lot of them do. Most of them do. Both sides have too much to lose if it goes to trial. Amazon has a lot of risk at trial, and so too does the government. They don't want to bring a case this large and go down in a flaming disaster if Amazon gets a not liable verdict at trial.
All right. Danny Savalos, thank you so much. Appreciate it as always. Auto workers are on the picket line for the 12th straight day, but on this day, they were joined yesterday by a rather big name. The UAW is still locked in a stalemate with the top three automakers, and if no progress is made, more walkouts could be happening soon. Yesterday, in a historic show of support, President Biden grabbed a bullhorn as he showed his support for auto workers on the picket line in Michigan. He's making it clear he stands with the union.
Deserve what you've earned, and you've earned a hell of a lot more than you're getting paid now.
This major labor fight is also a political battle as well. Tonight, Republican frontrunner, former President Donald Trump, is skipping the GOP debate in California. Instead, he'll deliver a primetime speech to auto workers. Both the 45th and 46th presidents are vying for votes in a state that could be crucial when it comes to winning in 2024. NBC News senior national correspondent Jay Gray joins us now from Wayne, Michigan, outside of Detroit. So, Jay, the White House originally took the position it would stay out of negotiations and leave the specifics to the union and the management. But President Biden seemed to shift that position, traveling there yesterday at the invitation of Union President Shawn Fain. So what was President Biden's message, and how was that visit received by auto workers?
Yeah, Joe, and I think the White House would still say they're not actively involved in the negotiations, though definitely they made a difference in how things are perceived with that visit yesterday. And it's really added a pep in the step, if you will, of those picketing outside plants like this Ford plant here in Wayne, Michigan. So many of those on the picket line saying they really appreciate the president's support, think it's very important as this process continues and brings a much brighter spotlight to what's going on here. Many feel like the visit could ratchet up pressure on automakers to get some type of deal done. Shawn Fain feels the same way. Here's what he had to say about it all.
Thank you, Mr. President, for coming. Thank you for coming to stand up with us in our generation's defining moments. And we know the president will do right by the working class.
Yeah, and Fain, the president of the UAW, saying that the working class was built by the unions like his, and got the same feeling from President Biden, who said as much as he was talking with those workers on the picket line, Joe.
So, Jay, looking ahead to Trump's speech tonight, what are we looking for in his remarks, and can we also expect him to meet with union leadership?
Well, he wants to. He's invited union members, not leadership. Shawn Fain has said point blank that he thinks another Trump administration would be, and I'm quoting his words here, a disaster. So I don't think he'll meet with leadership, but he does want to meet with some of the UAW workers. Interesting to point out, though, his rally this evening will be in a non-union shop, a production and distribution center, which is non-union here in the suburbs of Detroit. He's been pretty consistent here, walking a thin line between the union workers and the automakers, and really focusing his attack on President Biden and criticizing the administration's commitment to electric vehicles that he says will push jobs overseas.
All right, Jay Gray in Michigan. Jay, thank you so much. Over in Hollywood, the writers' strike is officially finished. As of midnight, writers were free to return to work after the writers' union's leadership agreed to a 3-year deal with major movie studios. The agreement, which still needs to be ratified by the union's 11,500 members, would increase residuals for streaming content, boost pay by up to 5%, and raise health and pension contributions. It also includes specific guidelines for safeguards over the use of artificial intelligence. For more, let's bring in entertainment journalist Brian Balthazar. Brian, good to have you with us. So the union says workers can now go back to work. What stands out in this deal? Does it seem like it's a good result for both sides?
It's a good result for the union, particularly. The studios are probably going to feel a little bit of a sting when you look at the numbers. This deal has about $233 million in enhancements for the union, and the offer from the studios was about $86 million. So that's nearly 3 times. But there are some compromises in there. But of course, the basic pay increases, the increases in staffing levels. I think most interesting is the streaming residuals part of this deal. There's a bonus now built in, and this has been the wild, wild west. How do we measure success for streamers? What they've done here is they've said they've built in a bonus if a streaming title does well within 90 days of release and is viewed by at least 20% of the subscriber base. So you can see it gets really nitty gritty, right? But this is a bonus that didn't even exist before. And then, of course, there's a near 76% increase in residuals for foreign streamed titles. So things that are streamed overseas, I should say. So the streaming bonuses, the streaming residuals is a big deal. And then, of course, the AI protections are very interesting, saying that the studios have to be upfront. They cannot force writers to use AI. They cannot use AI for source material, but a writer can choose to use AI if they're allowed to. So there's going to be a lot, you can see that this is language that we're just kind of learning how to kind of balance and monitor, and we're seeing how it's going, but there are definitely some great protections in there.
Yeah, it's such a great point. There are 2 of these major issues are issues they never had to deal with before. So they're in many ways starting from scratch, trying to hash these things out. So Brian, what happens next? Is it just a formality for the 11,000 plus members to follow their leaders and ratify the deal?
Well, given the enthusiasm from both sides, from both coasts, I think it's pretty much a certainty that it will go through. But the voting begins on the 2nd, on Monday, and will continue through the 9th. And members of the union have an opportunity to ask questions and hold meetings. But they have the information now; they can see the increases as well as a desire to get back to work. So I think we'll see this go through.
And I think we'll see some talk shows back on the air, perhaps as early as next week, or certainly in the next couple of weeks. So Brian, we still know actors are striking. Where do things stand there? Could this deal with the writers maybe clear the way for actors to reach a deal, say, before year's end?
Right. Well, as you say, talk shows are coming back, but they'll be missing actors to promote their projects. Bill Maher starting on Friday. Kelly Clarkson had some of her crew there yesterday. The actors, that still has to be worked out. I think, we're going to see a lot of production. Wait until January because we see the holidays coming up. So we already see a real urgency to get the actors strike worked out. And I think the union SAG-AFTRA is going to be looking to see if the studios will come back to the table as soon as possible.
Until then, I hope you like cooking segments on those talk shows. All right. Brian, as always, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Embattled New Jersey Senator Bob Menendez is expected to appear in a New York courtroom today. The Democratic senator and his wife Nadine will be arraigned on federal bribery charges. The couple accused of receiving cash, gold, and a luxury car in return for a variety of corrupt acts. Menendez returned to Capitol Hill yesterday after announcing he would not step down from Congress. He was confronted by reporters when he arrived. Take a listen.
You run for re-election, sir?
As I said, I'm here to do the work of the people of Jersey.
Why won't you resign, sir? Senator Menendez?
Because I'm innocent. What's wrong with you guys?
Why were there gold bars there?
Meanwhile, NBC News has learned the FBI is investigating whether Egypt's intelligence services might have been involved in the alleged bribery scheme. That's according to sources familiar with the matter. Menendez has denied any wrongdoing. MSNBC anchor Lindsay Reiser joins us now from outside of the federal courthouse in Lower Manhattan. Lindsay, good morning. So set the scene for us. What can we expect to play out today behind you there in court? And what more can you tell us about what we're learning about this FBI investigation?
Good morning, Joe. Good to be with you. We are expecting the senator to enter the building through a side entrance. We're not expecting any comments in particular, but of course, if he does say something, either himself or through his lawyer, we will be here to listen to those comments and ask some questions, including one that he was again just asked yesterday and didn't quite answer whether he intends to run again in 2024. Of course, he has said he believes he'll be exonerated, and at the end of this, he believes that he will still be New Jersey's senior senator. Now, as for that new reporting from our colleagues Jonathan Dienst and Ken Delanian, according to sources familiar with the matter, the FBI investigators are looking into whether Egyptian intelligence officials used, for example, Nadine Menendez, Bob Menendez's wife, to get to the senator. whether there was any influence here from any Egyptian intelligence officials. And so this investigation, this counterintelligence investigation, will take place at the same time as this federal criminal investigation. And we did reach out, our colleagues at NBC News reaching out to an attorney for one of the co-defendants here, Wael Hanna, who denied having any ties to Egyptian intelligence. Representation from Nadine Menendez declined to comment on that, Joe.
So, Lindsay, let's talk about how Menendez's fellow Democrats in the Senate are reacting to all this. We know here nearly half of the Democratic caucus calling for his resignation, including fellow New Jersey Democrat Cory Booker. What else are we hearing from members of Congress?
I mean, really just the staggering mounting of calls. When I was covering this just 2 days ago, when the senator delivered comments in Union City, New Jersey, where he grew up, there were only 2 senators in the Democratic caucus who were calling at the time for his resignation, John Fetterman, and then later in the afternoon, Sherrod Brown of Ohio. Now we're up to 24 Democratic senators, including some prominent ones who are facing re-election themselves next year, as so is Menendez, including Amy Klobuchar, Elizabeth Warren, John Tester, Tammy Baldwin, and of course, notably, as you mentioned, Cory Booker, New Jersey's senator, his fellow senator, who is often an ally of Menendez, essentially saying at this point, and there's a truck going by, so you'll have to excuse the noise here. You know what, let's go ahead and listen to what some other senators are saying before we talk about Cory.
These serious and illegal allegations in the indictment against Senator Menendez are deeply troubling. Senator Menendez is entitled to a presumption of innocence and a full trial, but I think he should resign.
I do think he should step down in order to mount and focus on his defense.
All right, so, Joe, I mentioned Cory Booker. He said in a statement yesterday that he is calling for Menendez to step down, essentially saying that senators, while they're held to the same criminal standard, they have a common ideals standard, and also says that the people he has to represent and work with in the Senate have been shaken to their core. Of course, Menendez remaining defiant as of Monday, saying that he will not step down, Joe.
So, and interesting here, Menendez is actually the first sitting senator in U.S. history to be indicted on 2 unrelated criminal allegations. Hispanic lawmakers came to his defense back in 2015, but as NBCNews.com reported this week, Latino lawmakers are notably silent this time around. What more should we know about that?
Right. So, Joe, essentially one operative telling NBCNews.com that the silence is deafening here. And while many Latino lawmakers and organizational groups rallied to his defense in 2015 during that separate indictment, really, they aren't doing the same this time around. Many telling NBC News anonymously that the nature of the allegations are just simply too severe for them to stand behind him at this point. And remember, in that statement on Friday, Menendez had blasted those rushing to judge a Latino and push him out of his seat. Well, NBCNews.com is reporting that that's turned a lot of people off, essentially saying, while yes, there is implicit bias, what's basically laid out in the indictment does not appear to reflect that, Joe.
All right, Lindsay Reiser here in New York. Lindsay, thank you so much. In other legal news, a New York judge has ruled that former President Trump committed repeated acts of fraud for years. This is part of the New York Attorney General's $250 million civil lawsuit against Trump and his company. The judge ruled yesterday that Trump lied to banks and insurers by both overvaluing and undervaluing his assets to his benefit. He has denied any wrongdoing, and his attorney called the ruling outrageous. The judge also found that Trump's sons, Don Jr. and Eric, and their companies liable for fraud. The Attorney General's civil trial against Trump is set to begin next week, and it's expected to last nearly 3 months. It's unclear if Trump will testify in his own defense in that trial. The Senate is moving forward with a bipartisan short-term funding bill designed to keep the government open until mid-November. But it's unclear if the Republican-led House will approve it, raising fears the government will shut down over the weekend. NBC News senior congressional reporter Scott Wong joins us now with the latest. Scott, good morning. So as we just said, the Senate's come up with a plan to try and keep things open until November 17th. What are the odds this passes in the House? Just what are the main sticking points right now?
Good morning, Joe. Yes, you're right. The Senate does have a plan. That plan is bipartisan, backed by both Majority Leader Chuck Schumer and Minority Leader Mitch McConnell. However, Speaker Kevin McCarthy says that that plan will go nowhere in the House of Representatives. He says that will be flatly rejected by House Republicans because Republicans are demanding steep spending cuts in any CR that goes forward. And in the Senate plan, they are funding things at existing levels. So that is a huge sticking point. Secondly, is the issue of Ukraine. The Senate plan includes $6 billion for economic and military aid for Ukraine. House Republicans, a large majority of them, want no money for Ukraine, saying the focus should be instead back here on the domestic front. And so those are some real big problems and explain why there is this big gulf between House Republicans and Democrats who control the Senate and the White House.
You know, another factor, we know McCarthy is in a tough spot. He relied on help from ultra-conservatives to become Speaker in the first place, but now he might need Democrats' help to keep the government open, but that could cost him his speakership. So what are you hearing are his chances of both passing a spending bill and actually hanging on to his leadership position?
Yeah, McCarthy is in a really sticky situation here, as you laid out. I mean, he promised the conservatives, in order to grab that speaker's gavel, deep spending cuts through these appropriation bills that they are working through right now. Those are a non-starter for Democrats in the Senate and for President Joe Biden. And so he is in this situation here where we are 4 days away from the deadline. He needs to reach across the aisle to avert a shutdown and team up with Democrats. And on top of that, you have a conservative lawmaker named Matt Gaetz who says, look, Kevin McCarthy, if you go that route, if you bring a short-term bill to the floor, if you extend your hands to Democrats, then I'm going to make a motion or force a vote on the floor to remove you as Speaker of the House. And so he is really in a no-win situation here, having to choose between the speakership, a job he has coveted his entire political career and achieved it, and shutting down the government, which will impact millions and millions of Americans in terms of federal benefits, as well as forcing millions, potentially millions of federal workers to go without a paycheck for the foreseeable future, Joe.
All right, Scott Wong, thank you so much. Let's take a deeper look at the impact this potential crisis could have on the economy if Congress doesn't act by the end of the month. That's Saturday night at midnight. Hundreds of thousands of federal workers could face being furloughed if that happens. That means they won't get paid. Now, a little history. The last government shutdown back in 2019 lasted 34 days. It ended up costing tens of billions of dollars. Let's bring in NBC News business and data reporter Brian Chung for more on this. So, Brian, what have we learned from 2019 that could maybe help us manage a shutdown this year?
Well, it's going to have a big impact across the country and in other communities specifically as well. But I want to point out, let's look at what happened the last time we had a shutdown, which was in 2019. As you mentioned, 300,000 people were furloughed. They didn't get pay. We also lost about $11 billion, according to the Congressional Budget Office. At the time, $3 billion was estimated to have been permanently lost, just simply didn't get back. Now, in terms of the specific agencies, we saw situations like with TSA and even at the IRS that some workers just simply didn't show up. You have to remember that even those that aren't furloughed would still have to continue to work without pay for however long that shutdown goes. But for what it's worth, Wall Street didn't seem to care that much. Markets went up 10% during that last shutdown.
So, Brian, many federal workers obviously located in the Washington, D.C. area. How would a shutdown affect that area in particular?
Yeah, well, when we talk about the impact of a government shutdown on individual households, we're looking specifically at that DMV area. There are over 500,000 federal workers across those three states. And we actually took a look by the numbers at how much of the workforce is employed by specifically the federal government. In D.C., it's 51%. That makes sense. Virginia and Maryland, 4% and 5% respectively. But when you look at the numbers of the impact that we saw from the last government shutdown in 2019, D.C. estimated that it lost about $47 million in revenue. You didn't have people going to the restaurant because you had tourists that maybe weren't coming in because the Smithsonian museums were closed, in addition to the workers that maybe just simply didn't want to eat out during the time the paychecks weren't coming in.
So we call part of that area the Beltway. Let's widen the scope a little bit. What could be the ripple effect beyond the Beltway?
Yeah, well, I'm highlighting 3 other states that have a high concentration of people employed by the federal government. Hawaii is one of them. In Honolulu, 7% of the people there are employed by the government. Tourism is big there. 16% of Americans actually said they canceled or plan to cancel their Hawaii trips because of the 2019 shutdown, a big impact there. I also want to highlight Alaska, 4.5% employed by the government, 9% in Fairbanks. By the way, 60% of Alaska's land managed by the federal government. The Department of the Interior has a lot of employees in that state. Again, they also have military and oil operations there. And then the last state I want to point out here is West Virginia. They have about 6% employed in the Parkersburg, Vienna area of that state. Major government employers, the Veterans Affairs, as well as the Treasury, which operates a Office of Fiscal Service in the state as well, Joe.
All right, Brian Chung breaking it down for us. Thank you so much, Brian. Some breaking news now. North Korea says it is expelling U.S. soldier Travis King. It comes 2 months after King dashed across the border into the country's territory. According to North Korea's state news agency, KCNA, authorities have finished their questioning of King. The agency says that he confessed to illegally entering the North because he was, quote, disillusioned by the inhumane treatment and racial discrimination within the U.S. Army. King ran into the demilitarized zone, or DMZ, the heavily fortified border between North and South Korea, back in July. North Korean officials have not released any information on the actual timing of his release. Coming up on Morning News Now, yes, we do have more Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce news this morning, with the Chiefs star finally breaking his silence on that whirlwind weekend that broke the internet. But first, 7 GOP primary contenders will face off on the debate stage tonight. Once again, the frontrunner, former President Trump, will be absent. We've got a full preview of what to expect next. Florida is in for storms, even potential flooding. Let's get a check on your Morning News Now weather. Meteorologist Angie Lastman keeping an eye on the Sunshine State and more. Angie, good morning.
Yeah, not living up to its name. Good morning, Joe. We're continuing to see kind of an unsettled pattern shaping up for the state of Florida, really. That's where the focus is going to be for some flooding potential over the coming days. And you can see what it looks like this morning. Your satellite and radar showing just really some showers, some thunderstorms, especially offshore, but a lot of them moving onshore for folks in the southwestern portions of the coastline of Florida, places like Fort Myers. But everyone's really going to get in on this action. You can already see some of those flood watches up at this hour, and we'll likely see more to come throughout the next 3 days. Here's how it all plays out. We've got this kind of slow moving and at times stationary front, the system that's going to kind of slowly but surely move down the peninsula. But as it does, it keeps it quite unsettled. So heavy rainfall. We're going to see good tropical kind of downpours working through across this region. And you can see this is last into tomorrow. It'll slowly push a little farther south as far as the cold front is concerned. But places like Tampa, Fort Myers, Miami, West Palm, all on the table for seeing some really substantial rainfall in the next couple of days. This is what we look like as we get into Friday, still unsettled. By the time we head into the weekend, we'll continue to see that rain falling between now and then, and we could pick up 1 to 2, even 3 inches of rain for the widespread area. But I wouldn't be surprised if we do see some spots that pick up maybe 5 inches of rain. We know how easily a lot of places in Florida flood, so just keep an eye out for that. Remind you not to drive through those flooded roadways. Otherwise, I got 2 words for you, Joe. Drying out in the Northeast. This is what everybody's been wondering. When are we going to finally see some sunshine there? Today is the day, but unfortunately it doesn't last long. We'll see kind of another unsettled pattern get back in the picture by the end of the week.
I guess we're getting, it's like Seattle all over again.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm flashing back to my time there. All right, Angie, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Problem. Tonight in California, 7 Republican candidates will take the stage at the second GOP primary debate. But once again, former President Donald Trump will not be among them. Instead, he's planning to give a speech to auto workers who are striking in Detroit. Let's bring in NBC News senior national politics reporter John Allen to help us preview the event. John, good to have you with us. So this debate's going to be moderated by Fox Business and Univision. What might that tell us about what could be discussed tonight? And could we see more of a play for Hispanic voters at this debate?
Good morning, Joe. Hispanic voters are certainly a segment of the electorate the Republicans are trying to cut more into. They've had some success in the last presidential election with doing that, with Donald Trump in particular. So absolutely, I think that that's an audience that Republicans broadly are seeking to reach out to, and certainly each of these candidates.
So, as we mentioned, Trump's going to be missing at the debate. A recent NBC News poll still has him way in front of all the other candidates. But as we heard a little earlier, yesterday a judge ruled Trump and his company committed fraud by making false and misleading valuations. That's on top of all the other indictments out there. Is this the night where maybe we see more candidates beyond Chris Christie go on the attack, try and use some of these legal challenges against him?
It just doesn't seem that there's a lot of percentage right now in polling in terms of going after Trump. But we've seen his candidates who go after Trump get hammered by Trump and then they get knocked down. Even those who don't, Ron DeSantis, we've seen his trajectory look like Black Monday on the stock market in October of 1987, straight downward. So it may be that some of the candidates decide that they're going to do more to attack Trump. We've already seen that from, say Chris Christie, Asa Hutchinson, who did not make this debate stage, has done that in the past, and maybe that's a lesson that going after Trump is not something that most Republicans want right now. Because if you look at surveys, most Republicans still like Donald Trump, even the ones who aren't thinking about voting for him. I think the best way to look at this debate right now is there's still a scramble among all of the rest of the Republican field to try to become the alternative to Trump. It's not even clear to me that a one-on-one race would necessarily be particularly competitive. But for right now, when they're fighting each other, they are certainly not competitive against Trump.
So with that in mind, which candidates do you think have the most to gain or lose tonight? Could it be a make or break for some of them?
Great question. Every debate is make or break for DeSantis because of that trajectory. He's got donors who are antsy. He's got supporters who are anti-Trump voters who saw him as the one at one point, do not necessarily see him that way anymore. So for DeSantis, a bad performance could be a knockout punch. On the other hand, you've also got Nikki Haley, the governor of South Carolina. I think she was widely believed to have won that first debate. And there's going to be a big question about whether she can sustain that momentum. We've seen her roll out some more policies in the last week or so. She wants to eliminate the federal gas tax, which pays for highways and infrastructure. I want to say it's about $25 billion a year into the federal government from that gas tax at 18 cents. 18 cents a gallon. So, Haley's got to prove that she can continue to sort of feel her way through that debate stage in a way that's better than the other candidates. And for everybody else, it's just trying to get noticed.
Yeah, and Haley might have a bigger target on her back because she did so well in the first debate. Others might be looking to try and take her down in this one. John, appreciate you as always. Thank you so much. Coming up, we have got a new health alert for you this morning. What's behind a concerning shortage in primary care providers all across America? What it could mean for your next trip to the doctor's office. That's next on Morning News Now. We're back with a health alert. The Association of American Medical Colleges predicts that the U.S. will face a shortage of up to 55,000 primary care doctors by 2033. That means it'll be tougher to find a regular doctor. NBC News correspondent Ann Thompson has more on what's behind that shortage.
See you in a little bit.
Dr. Terry Vester, 68 years old, is still working as a primary care physician in rural Lafayette, Alabama, the only one within a 30-minute drive.
There have been doctors that come through here, but they don't stay.
In New York City, where there are 4 times as many doctors as the entire state of Alabama, Olga Torres lost her primary care physician to concierge medicine 2 years ago.
I could go see him at this concierge practice for $10,000 a year.
Have you been looking for a primary care physician?
I have.
And have you found one?
I have not.
Unable to find one taking new patients, today Torres says her cardiologist fills that role.
This is not what she should be doing.
Across America, primary care doctors are increasingly hard to find.
My own parents had the same issue in Jacksonville, Florida.
Dr. Jesse Ehrenfeld leads the American Medical Association.
Why is that shortage so acute today?
Well, the problem is the number of physicians in the U.S. is growing. It's just not growing fast enough.
The AMA says it takes 10 years to educate and train a physician while the population grows and ages.
We know that health outcomes are worse when people don't have access to primary care. They live shorter lives and they live sicker lives.
The AMA says more federal funding is needed to increase training slots. The average $200,000 in medical school debt must be eased and physician burnout addressed. Until replacements arrive, Dr. Vester and her internist husband vow to keep working.
They will come, but we're going to be here until then. We'll just have to go to the gym and exercise a little bit.
To keep America in good health. Ann Thompson, NBC News, New York.
Let's keep the health news going here. Time for our weekly medical checkup. Researchers have found a link between rising hospital visits for drug and alcohol disorders and climate change. Plus, a new study reveals just how much time teens are spending on their phones. NBC News medical contributor Dr. Natalie Azar joins us with a closer look at these stories. So let's start off with climate change maybe impacting your health in different ways. One of the interesting findings, hospital visits might increase on warmer days.
Yeah.
Why might that be?
Well, I read that and I thought, I'm going to predict that it's because people are outside and they're drinking more. And that is pretty much what they found.
Well,
so,
okay.
yeah.
Really?
So, I mean, you know, a little bit of that is intuitive, right? You're outside, maybe you're doing riskier behaviors. But if you're doing riskier outdoor behaviors and you're consuming more alcohol at the same time, that can be kind of a little bit of a dangerous combination. Also, dehydration also makes the alcohol effect, you know, even more pronounced. DUIs, things like that. So doctor's orders are, when you're outside drinking and when you're inside drinking, always a good idea to have a glass of water after every alcoholic beverage, right? So that kind of like keeps your volume the same, but you're getting more non-alcoholic fluids. And try, how about this? Don't drink when you're outside when the weather's really hot. I know it's easier said than done, but I think it's good to be mindful. Dehydration and hot weather really does exacerbate the effects of alcohol, and I think people need to keep that in mind.
All right, super interesting. All right, so we know the expression misery loves company, but there is a study that says maybe keeping your negative thoughts to yourself can help your mental health?
Do you know the name Sigmund Freud?
Yes.
We all do,
Yes.
right? So he was sort of the godfather of this concept that repressing your feelings is something bad. You need to emote.
What's
you need
on your
to
mind, let it out. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that, you know, all of your, you know, everything that could be bad about that is because of that reason. But there's been a sort of movement, and essentially this is what cognitive behavioral therapy is, that if you are able to train your brain to block bad and negative feelings, you can actually reap the benefits. And what they found in the study was that, you know, fears became less vivid. The amount of worrying decreased by about 44%. Patients with PTSD also had a significant improvement in their symptoms. The way they conducted this, like you think, well, how do they do this? You have a negative thought, and then you attach a word to that negative thought. And what you have to do is concentrate on the word, and you don't let your mind wander to the thing that it's associated with. It sounds hard, and I think it is, but you have to do that 12 times a day for 3 days straight. I want everyone at home to try this, because I'm going to try this also. So pretty soon, that word turns from being negative to kind of being neutral. I think it's really cool. Now, but the doctor's orders are, it's still okay to talk about your negative feelings. You know, like,
gotta let it out.
I mean, it's like, here I go, back and forth. But, you know, but it's like writing things down on a worry note, like whatever works for you. Therapy, talk therapy is still super, super important. But I like the idea that this could still be something helpful for folks. You could try it at home.
That is interesting. Worth giving it a shot. All right, I want to ask you about something that we were talking about yesterday. Kate Snow's fascinating report. Always notification. Kids are getting hundreds, some getting 4,500 notifications a day. Just what were your thoughts when you heard that?
Well, just apropos to what we were talking about, right? One of the things I also, as a take-home here, is that we should also reflect on ourselves as adults and what we're doing. But yeah, Kate's report was really quite profound. So she found that 97% of children are using social media during school. 60% of kids still have their social media apps that active overnight. Greater than 50% of kids got more than 237 pings throughout the day. Really quite shocking. Doctor's orders, and I think I'm like, am I the only medical contributor who gets these segments? Because I have two teenagers, you know, and it's so relevant to our lives as well. Turn off your notifications if you can. Put it into do not disturb mode. Have phone-free activities, meal times. And I know that sounds so rote, but we also have to remind ourselves at dinner. My husband, my son, my daughter, put your phones away. And I think one of the most important things in take-homes is start the conversation. What apps are you into, honey? Oh, you like Snapchat? Why do you like it? Da, 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 da. And really, like, empower your children to talk about these things.
And not judgmental, really, right?
And not judgmentally. Just say, like, you know, why are you, you know, why is it on all day? And because, you know, our generation, maybe, I'm sorry, Joe, I'm including you in my generation, but we're not quite as savvy as like all the notifications and turn off and all the things that you can do. Kids are, but I think it's a good time to have a conversation with your children and say, you know, put on the do not disturb while you're studying. So you're not, I mean, Snapchat is constant. Every time someone texts, there's a ping. And if you don't have it turned off, like, it's just human nature, right?
Exactly.
You're going to go to it.
And
so reminder for all of us.
And parents can model good behavior too.
Exactly.
So, all right, Dr. Azar, thank you so much for everything this morning. morning. Appreciate it. Coming up after the break, the taxpayer dollars that are being sunk into a $1 billion Navy ship that has been sitting on dry land for 6 years. More on that next. We're back now with a look at the staggering cost that repairing old Navy ships is having for taxpayers. This as a $1 billion Navy ship in Virginia has been stuck sitting in dry dock under maintenance for the past 6 years. NBC News Pentagon correspondent Courtney Cubey reports on the growing outrage.
Growing outrage that billions of dollars of taxpayer money is being sunk into Navy ships that may never be ready to go back into battle. Here in Norfolk, Virginia, we found old ships docked for delayed maintenance. Critics say they should be retired. Instead, the Navy keeps pouring money into repairs.
Maintenance for U.S. Navy ships is so backed up that we found this ship, the USS Vicksburg. It's been here in Virginia for 6 years, and we've learned it's not likely to ever go back out to sea.
The Navy awarded $500 million to modernize the Vicksburg, and it's still not done. Then there's the 31-year-old U.S. attack submarine, the USS Boise, under repair for 8 years. Earlier this month, lawmakers grilling Navy officials.
There's really no excuse. I think it's time for a hair-on-fire task force on this issue.
The Navy is cutting down repair times, but the backlog still costs taxpayers billions, according to Diana Maurer with the watchdog Government Accountability Office.
It just does not make a lot of sense to have a ship sit in maintenance for 6 years, performing no missions, where they're spending tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars on a modernization that may never actually be put out to sea again.
The Navy has said each year they ask Congress to retire old ships, but lawmakers object because the repair work guarantees jobs in their districts, and others think they need as many ships as possible, no matter their condition, to deter China. The Vicksburg is docked near Congressman Rob Whitman's Virginia district. He tells us he's opposed to retiring the ship and blames the Navy for failing to manage the repairs. But now he says the retirement could be a given.
They've spent hundreds of millions of dollars on it. Was that a waste of taxpayer dollars at this point?
Well, I think you could certainly make an argument if you're going to now salvage that ship, so all that money that you've spent there is not going to relate to military readiness. Then yes, I think you could make an argument to say that that was a waste of money.
I think a lot of viewers might watch this and say, okay, we spent hundreds of millions of dollars and 6 years on this ship.
Yes.
And it's sitting there and it's not likely to ever go back out to sea.
Yes.
So how do you explain to them how that happened?
Well, they should be frustrated like I am, and I would say in several areas, it's a breakdown in execution of repairing that ship. This should be a lesson for us never to repeat this again.
In a statement to NBC News, the Navy Secretary vowed to extend the life of ships whenever possible, but he added that continuing to spend money on outdated systems is not a smart use of taxpayer funds and does not deter adversaries like China.
All right, Courtney, thank you so much. Financial headlines now. Consulting firm McKinsey has agreed to settle hundreds of lawsuits related to the opioid epidemic. CNBC's Silvana Henao joins us with more on how much they're going to be paying and other money news. Silvana, good morning.
Hey, Joe, good morning to you. That's right. So McKinsey has agreed to pay $230 million to settle lawsuits by hundreds of local governments and school districts. They allege the consulting firm fueled the opioid epidemic through its work for OxyContin maker Purdue Pharma and other drug companies. The settlement, which must still be approved by a judge, is on top of the $641 million McKinsey has already paid to settle claims by state attorneys general. Thousands of hospitality workers in Las Vegas have voted to authorize a strike that could impact more than 36 hotels and casinos. The Culinary Workers Union hasn't gone on strike in more than 3 decades. The union is continuing to bargain for better pay, benefits, and working conditions with the top casino employers on the Vegas Strip, including MGM Resorts, Caesars, and Wynn Resorts. And more than half of workers say they feel behind on their retirement savings, including more than 2/3 who say they're significantly behind. A new survey by Bankrate finds only 25% of people say they're contributing more to their retirement savings this year compared to last year, while 22% say they didn't contribute last year and won't do so this year. Nearly a third of workers say they would need to save more than $1 million to retire comfortably, Joe.
All right, Silvana, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Now to an unforgettable experience for one Beyonce fan. An Oregon man with cerebral palsy was turned away from a flight to a concert because the plane could not accommodate his wheelchair. But as NBC News Digital reporter Maya Eaglin reports, once the Beehive heard his story online, they came to the rescue.
An Oregon man's dream trip gone in an instant.
Well, guess I'm not going to Seattle and I'm not seeing Beyonce.
John Hetherington, who has cerebral palsy, booked an Alaska Airlines flight from Eugene to Seattle to see Beyonce live in concert. But when he arrived, the attendants told him they could not accommodate his electric-powered wheelchair.
They tell me that my chair is apparently 4 inches too tall to be loaded onto the plane.
The Department of Transportation only requires airlines to transport manual wheelchairs in the cabin of an aircraft. In a statement to NBC News, Alaska Airlines saying, "We feel terrible about our guests' travel experience with us. We tried to reaccommodate our guests on another flight, but no viable options were available."
People with disabilities have challenges every single day, and the lack of accessible air travel is just, unfortunately, one more hurdle.
Hetherington taking to social media, telling his story to his 23,000 TikTok followers.
Ableism strikes again.
The video going viral, racking up more than 100,000 views. Beyonce fans sharing the video with Queen Bee herself, Jay-Z, and her team. Then, the moment Hetherington thought would never come. Beyonce's team arranging for Hetherington to travel to Texas for another show and scoring him floor seats. He made it, Other fans recognizing him, cheering him on as he entered the stadium. Hetherington sharing this image from the concert, telling his followers, "We partied, we sang, we danced. Beehive, you made this happen." Hetherington meeting Beyonce's mother, Tina Knowles, posing for a picture with Beyonce's backup dancers, receiving a pair of drumsticks from the concert signed by the drummer Diamond Johnson. And then this, Beyonce herself stopping by to meet and embrace her devoted fan. His image now adorning her tour website. An irreplaceable memory for John that's also bringing awareness to challenges Americans with disabilities face every day. Maya Eaglin, NBC News.
Coming up, he is being called the proudest dad in baseball after his son's emotional pitching debut for the Phillies. And he's proving once and for all there is, in fact, crying in baseball. Got that story up next. Welcome back. Let's revisit a story we've been covering all this week, that potential romance between Taylor Swift and Kansas City Chiefs tight end Travis Kelce. Now, as everyone knows by now, Swift was spotted alongside Kelce's mom, cheering him on at Arrowhead Stadium Sunday. Now Kelce has spoken about the episode on his podcast, New Heights. Take a listen.
We've been avoiding this subject out of respect for your personal life. Now we got to talk about it.
Yeah, my personal life, that's not so personal.
Yeah, well.
I did this to myself, Jason. I know this.
Well, Trav, how's it feel that Taylor Swift has finally put you on the map?
I want to know the answer. Kelce is experiencing a new level of fame this week. You know, his 3.3 million followers on Instagram, and the Chiefs have a ton of new fans. So hopefully there won't be any bad blood anytime soon. Good morning, I'm Joe Fryer. Savannah is off today. Right now on Morning News Now, out in force. President Biden becomes the first sitting president to join a picket line, appearing with auto workers striking in Michigan, a show of solidarity over their labor dispute with the big three car makers.
You saved the automobile industry back in 2008 and before. Made a lot of sacrifices. Now they're doing incredibly well. And guess what? You should be doing incredibly well, too.
All the details from that visit, plus a look ahead to former President Trump's trip to Detroit later today and his speech to auto workers. Fraudulent behavior. Trump's visit comes a day after a New York State judge ruled the former president and his company committed repeated acts of fraud by making false and misleading valuations for multiple real estate assets. What this ruling means for Trump and his growing list of legal battles. Also this morning, back to work. The Hollywood writers' strike is officially over after union leaders reached an agreement with the major studios. We'll bring you all the details of that deal and how Hollywood is reacting to this breakthrough. Plus, the rise of a tech titan. It has been 25 years since Google took the internet by storm with its search engine. We're going to take a look at the company's astronomical growth and what that could mean, what could be next for the online powerhouse. Good to have you with us. We begin this morning with the United Auto Workers strike. President Biden made good on his promise yesterday, hitting the picket line with union members in a historic show of support. The president rallied with auto workers and called for fair pay. And now, just one day later, former President Trump is going to be heading to Michigan. He is skipping tonight's GOP debate to deliver a primetime speech to auto workers. Twin visits in 24 hours by two of the biggest names in American politics. And the magnitude of that is not lost on union members. NBC News correspondent Maggie Vespa joins us now from Belleville, Michigan, at the GM facility in Michigan, where President Biden spoke yesterday. Maggie, good morning.
Hey, Joe, good morning. You might be able to hear the plane taking off in the background here. Again, this is where the president landed and visited workers here just 24 hours ago, making history. The magnitude of it, as you said, lost on no one. One member telling me that his comments about pay were, quote, amazing, and she hopes the American people listen. That being said, members here also know former President Trump tonight will bring a spotlight of his own. The question is, will all of this publicity tied to politics translate to progress in talks with the big three?
They're doing incredibly well. And guess what? You should be doing incredibly well, too.
This morning, auto workers on strike against America's big three car companies, counting the commander-in-chief as a historic ally. President Biden becoming the first sitting U.S. president to join a union picket line at this GM parts facility near Detroit Tuesday.
That's a fact. So let's keep going. You deserve what you've earned, and you've earned a hell of a lot more than you're getting paid now. Thank you very much.
What was it like to see an actual sitting president show up here, say those things?
Awesome. Fantastic. Hooray. Thank you. Bye.
It's a great testament to see him come here. And, you know, I think his comments were very well received. Him recognizing the sacrifices our members made.
Biden's appearance coming 24 hours before former President Donald Trump's own Detroit stop. His campaign confirming he's skipping tonight's second GOP debate to aggressively court blue-collar workers here. With the 2024 race ramping up, both candidates walking perilous political tightropes. Mr. Trump's visit blasted by UAW leadership, who say they're fighting an economy that enriches people like Donald Trump at the expense of workers. During his visit, President Biden answering a question about the UAW's call for 40% raises. All of the big three who have offered 20% raises say the visits will not impact talks. GM writing their focus is not on politics, but on bargaining in good faith. Among the workers picketing with the president Tuesday, Mercedes Wallace, a single mom of two praying the presidential spotlight leads to a fair deal.
It's letting the world know that just because you are a working class, you're still being heard. You have a voice too.
And regarding former President Trump's visit here tonight, he is set to speak to union members at a non-union body manufacturing plant just north of Detroit. We are also told, by the way, that he will not join the picket lines, nor will he be joined by UAW leadership like the president was. Joe.
All right, Maggie, thank you so much. Now to the legal trouble surrounding former President Trump. This time we're talking about the $250 million civil lawsuit brought against him by the New York Attorney General. A judge ruled that Trump had committed fraud repeatedly and lied about his net worth for years. Some of Trump's companies have been ordered to be removed from his control and dissolved. He has denied any wrongdoing, and his attorney is calling the ruling outrageous. To help break it all down, let's bring in NBC News Justice and Intelligence correspondent Ken Delanian. Ken, good morning. So New York Attorney General Letitia James brought this lawsuit against the Trump Organization just over a year ago. Trump and members of his family are part of the suit. What are some of the big takeaways from the judge's ruling yesterday?
Good morning, Joe. Look, this is enormously significant. Even though this is a civil case, not a criminal case, the repercussions for Donald Trump and his business organization are incredible. Potential loss of control of significant assets in New York, including a company that employs hundreds of people, and the potential to be banned from doing business, him and his family, in New York State for 5 years. What the judge ruled is that even without a trial, he could say definitively that Donald Trump and his business entities persistently committed fraud by overvaluing properties for the purposes of getting loans from banks and for insurance claims and other factors. And one of the best ways, this is very complicated, but let me just break it down in a very simple way that the judge used as an example. Donald Trump's apartment, where he lives in Trump Tower, is 11,000 square feet. But Trump, in documents, persistently said that it was 30,000 square feet, thereby overvaluing it by tens of millions of dollars. And Trump's lawyer said, look, that's just fudging. That's just kind of a margin of error. The judge said, absolutely not. He's a real estate developer. Inflating the square footage by 200%. That's just fraud, Joe.
So, Ken, what's been the reaction from Trump's team? How do they plan to defend themselves in this case?
Well, they're going to appeal, and the appeal will be a big issue here. His lawyers say this is an outrageous ruling that is not consistent with the facts and the law. Donald Trump supporters also say that even if technically there was fraud here, they question the whole premise of this case being brought by a Democrat elected in New York. They say that they've never seen a case like this. And they also say, look, at the end of the day, the banks who were the party to this transaction, they were all paid back. So there are no victims here. Obviously, the Attorney General disagrees.
And Ken, this ruling comes before the lawsuit is set to go to trial beginning next week. How does this decision, this ruling, impact the trial itself? When can we expect it all to get underway?
It gets underway Monday, and really now this trial is only about money and damages and how much fraud there was and what penalty the Attorney General can ultimately obtain from Donald Trump. So it'll be a pretty boring trial with a lot of expert witnesses talking about valuations and square footage. And most of the drama has been taken out of it by this ruling, but nonetheless deeply significant because at the end of it, we're going to find out exactly what the penalty is for Donald Trump and his business entities, Joe.
All right, Ken Delaney. And Ken, thank you so much. New Jersey Senator Bob Menendez and his wife Nadine are expected to be in a New York courtroom today answering to federal bribery charges. They're accused of accepting cash, gold, and a luxury car in return for favors. They face several charges, including conspiracy and extortion. Meanwhile, NBC News has learned the FBI is investigating whether Egypt's intelligence services might have been involved in the alleged bribery scheme. That's according to sources familiar with the matter. Menendez has denied any wrongdoing in the case. Republicans are gearing up for their second GOP debate tonight. This time, 7 candidates are set to face off at the Ronald Reagan Presidential Library in Simi Valley, California. Former Arkansas Governor Asa Hutchinson did not make the cut this time around. Another noticeable absence, as we mentioned, the Republican frontrunner, former President Trump. He is skipping the event and will address auto workers in Michigan instead. NBC News correspondent Maura Barrett joins us now from Simi Valley. So, Maura, candidates have taken advantage of the news cycle around the UAW strike, the looming government shutdown, to try and hone their messages on the economy, which is always a top issue for voters. What are some of the other top issues we're expecting to hear about tonight?
Yeah, Joe, those issues are likely to be top of mind on the debate stage today. It's also important to remember that this debate is being hosted by Fox Business, so the economy and things of that nature are very likely going to be questions asked of the candidates on the debate today. Since the last debate, over the last month, we've seen several candidates roll out their economic proposals if they were to be president. Nikki Haley's and Ron DeSantis's in particular really hinging on energy policies as well, America being energy dominant. So that's something that will likely be talked about and touted on stage today. And as you mentioned, that auto worker strike was a big talking point, has been a big talking point on the campaign trail. Nikki Haley and Tim Scott very much strongly advocating against their anti-union stances, saying that people that are striking should be fired if they're not happy with their deal. And so this is obviously a stark difference than what the Democratic Party stands for, and will definitely be a conversation to really set apart candidates in that sense. We've also heard a lot on the campaign trail in recent weeks about the different candidate stances on abortion bans and where that should land. But that's obviously all related to former President Trump bringing that conversation into play as well. So there will be a multitude of conversations on the stage tonight, but I think we can largely expect the economy being the main focus, Joe.
What are you hearing from voters? What do they want to hear about?
Well, new NBC News polling indicates that actually 58% of likely Republican primary voters still think that former President Trump should be the leader of the Republican Party. But that does not mean that voters in early voting states like Iowa, New Hampshire, South Carolina aren't paying attention. Our team actually spoke with a few voters in those states to get a sense of what they're looking for. Take a listen.
I am very interested in somebody who is actually going to start working on managing the debt and deficit spending overall. Entitlement reform is obviously significant.
I think economic relief all the way around and something that is good for every citizen. Not just the rich, not just the poor, not just the medium, but it'll touch everybody's life.
Voters also brought up, as you may remember in the last debate, a lot of fighting on the stage, people saying they want some more messages of hope and maybe conversation and civil debate rather than a battle on stage, Joe.
And more quickly, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis has been seen as Trump's most likely challenger, but he's been slipping in the polls. So which candidates are maybe in position to take advantage of that, stepping onto the stage tonight?
Well, it's an open question, and it's one candidates are definitely looking to take advantage of on that stage tonight, given that Ron DeSantis largely stepped back from being involved in those attacks last time. Nikki Haley seeing a pretty significant bump in the polls since then and in the early voting states. So it really depends if we see Ron DeSantis decide to be more aggressive, Tim Scott indicating he might be more aggressive. But that's an open question. And the reality is, based on all of the polling we've seen recently, Donald Trump still has an average of more than 40 points ahead of these candidates. So they're really looking to get those incremental momentum spikes from these debates.
Still a big gap between Trump and everyone else. All right, Maura, thank you so much. With just days until a possible government shutdown, Republicans in the House are still squabbling over several sticking points. Well, Democrats in the Senate have floated a short-term bipartisan funding bill to keep money flowing until mid-November. NBC News Capitol Hill correspondent Ryan Nobles is in Washington with the latest on all this. Ryan, good morning.
Hey, Joe, good morning. And you're right, there's been a little bit of progress on Capitol Hill. The Republicans taking steps towards passing a series of appropriations bills. You're right, the Senate Democrats taking steps towards passing their own short-term spending plan. But to be clear, the two sides are really far away from any sort of grand deal that could avoid a government shutdown this weekend. And that means millions of federal workers across America, including active duty service members that serve at installations like this one behind me, could be out of a paycheck as soon as this weekend. This morning, the government shutdown standoff at a standstill.
The House will continue to act and lead to make this happen.
Late Tuesday, Speaker Kevin McCarthy and House Republicans advancing appropriations bills that have no hope of passing the Senate. McCarthy promising the next step would be their version of a short-term funding bill.
We will move a continuing resolution, bring a rule to the floor to secure our border and keep government open.
President Biden calling McCarthy out for backing out of an agreement the two sides made on spending levels during the debt ceiling negotiations, writing, "We shook hands. Now they're reneging on the deal."
What good is Speaker McCarthy's word if he can promise something, we will vote on legislation to that end, and then he will reverse his stance?
Meanwhile, Senate Democrats introducing their own version of a short-term spending bill, one that includes new funding for Ukraine and disaster relief, which House Republicans will likely not pass. And while the two sides bicker over the numbers, Army Specialist Janaris Velasquez worries how she's going to pay her bills.
Our lives don't stop during that time, so we have bills, we have apartments, we have kids, we have to eat, and we don't have another source of income.
In past government shutdowns, service members like Velasquez were given special carve-outs to make sure their pay was never interrupted. But this time around, they're in the same boat as millions of other government workers. Staff Sergeant Antonio Hayes has a daughter to care for and is scheduled to be deployed this Thursday without any guarantee that when he leaves, his paychecks will still be coming.
If you're going to work, I feel like you should get paid.
And one of the big problems here is that if the government does shut down, there's really no timeline for Congress to get its act together and get the government back open. So that's really going to lead to a lot of uncertainty for those frontline defenders for America. And then, of course, the millions of ordinary Americans that rely on the federal government for critical services. Joe?
All right, Ryan, thank you so much. The Hollywood writers' strike is officially over. Days after that tentative agreement was reached, the leadership of the Writers Guild unanimously approved the deal with major studios. The deal now goes to the union for ratification. Writers already have the go-ahead to return to work as of 12:01 this morning. NBC News Entertainment correspondent Chloe Malas joins us with the latest on all this. Chloe, good morning.
I was like setting alarms. I've been telling you, I've been like setting alarms on my phone to not miss these big moments.
Exactly.
And it's been paying off. We've been reporting it here at NBC. So after nearly 5 months, Joe, on the picket lines that brought TV and the film production to a halt, right? Now 11,000 writers, they're going to go back to work this morning, finally. Now, details of the agreement were shared with writers late Tuesday. The WGA saying that gains and protections for members were made in every single sector of the entertainment industry.
This morning, the 148-day writers' strike is officially over. The WGA board and council releasing a statement late Tuesday saying that the new agreement unanimously passed and is now in the hands of guild members.
Feeling really happy, actually a lot of emotions. The deal is still tentative because we still have to vote on it, but very, very happy that there seems to be an end in sight.
The 94-page agreement includes much of what writers have been waiting for. Increased residuals and transparency for streaming content. Pay increases, with most members getting a 5% raise, increased health and pension contributions, and specific guidelines around the use of AI, including that it cannot be considered source material and can't be used to undermine a writer's credit or separated rights. Writers taking to social media to share their relief and gratitude. One posting, "Thanks to every member who negotiated and every member who walked the walk." The provisional 3-year agreement was reached late Sunday between the WGA and AMPTP, which represents streaming and studios, including Comcast, the parent company of NBC Universal. Tuesday's vote to move the deal through and end the strike right away means that late-night shows and daytime talk could be back as soon as next week. And fresh episodes of your favorite scripted shows could be back on track by January.
We did everything that we could.
However, it remains to be seen if there will actually be actors available to act.
We can't do anything without actors. We need them desperately.
The SAG-AFTRA union saying Tuesday, "We are reviewing the WGA's tentative agreement and are committed to achieving a fair and just deal for our members. We remain on strike. We will not speculate regarding schedule or next steps."
I'm hoping end of October. I'm done walking this line, even though I love it, but my feet are tired. I'm ready to get back to work.
Today, thousands of writers can do just that. Hollywood now one big step closer to reopening.
All right, so what does this mean now? Well, there is a ratification vote for all of the rank and file members of the Writers Guild. Now, that's going to take place for about a week in early October. So we could see all of this wrap up by Halloween. Next, we have the actors. So the AMPTP, that represents streamers and studios, they have to come to the bargaining table to work things out with SAG-AFTRA, that represents over 100,000 actors. And then, you know, our favorite shows and movies.
Perhaps.
Back up and running.
That would be nice
by
to
the
see.
holidays.
Exactly, just in time. All right, Chloe, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Time now for weather and the warm temps expected across the plains. Meteorologist Angie Lastman joins us with your forecast. Angie, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Joe. We've got, I don't know, summer-like conditions across parts of the south. We're continuing to see the plains hit the 90s, not just for today, but as we get into tomorrow, too, we'll see a lot of 90s across the board. In the afternoon hours today, expect Amarillo to hit 91 degrees, San Angelo 93, and the heat continues here over the next couple of days. This is a look at tomorrow, 85 for our friends in Kansas City, 82 in St. Louis. All of these numbers running well above average for this time of year, not feeling much like fall. And that heat actually expands up into portions of the Midwest. You can see it makes a big difference by the time we get to Saturday in Chicago. We're flirting with the upper 70s into the low 80s by Sunday. Cincinnati sits in the low 80s as we round out the work week and head into the weekend. But parts of the Northeast and New England, you'll remain kind of more seasonable until we get into Sunday. Places like New York will go back to the mid 70s. So a little bit of a weather whiplash. If you're looking for that warmer weather, then you're going to have a taste of it here over the next couple of days, depending on where you are. Meanwhile, we've got severe storms that we're tracking across parts of the Midwest this afternoon and into the evening hours. We've also got that heavy rain stretched across parts of Florida Florida for the next couple of days. That'll be something you're in and out of, with the potential for some flood concerns as well. So a heads up there. And we're drying out finally across the Northeast. If you're looking for that drier air, that those brighter skies, we're going to have it from places like New York to Washington, D.C. up into Boston today. You're finally going to get some sunshine back in the picture, but it doesn't last for long. We'll start to see those rain chances getting back into the picture by the end of this work week. In the meantime, here's some of the places that it's raining across the country right now. We do see, of course, some of those showers and thunderstorms active in parts of the Midwest. Places like St. Louis, you're dealing with a wet morning. Across parts of southern Florida, you're also dealing with a wet morning. But let's look ahead to tomorrow and Friday, because that's when we'll start to see the mid-Atlantic and the Northeast once again get back into action as far as the rain is concerned. Joe, we'll have to deal with this as we round out the work week. Unfortunately, more rain to come, and the coastal flooding concern will be there for folks in this region.
You know, the umbrellas are already out, so if you have to use them a little more, that's fine.
Exactly.
All right, thanks, Angie. Appreciate it. Coming up, drastic measures. More and more retailers shutting down their stores in response to a recent surge in crime and theft. What's behind this worrying trend? Next. We're back with news that Target has announced it's closing multiple stores in big cities across the country because of violence and theft. NBC News national correspondent Miguel Almaguer is in Los Angeles and has the details.
These smash and grab scenes are quite upsetting, especially when you think of regular shoppers in the middle of all of this chaos. It's the reason why some retailers like Target are now taking action.
Overnight, Philadelphia police responding to a chaotic scene. Large crowds of young people looting stores and damaging property. Authorities say they hit multiple locations, including a Lululemon, Foot Locker, and Apple store. Police making more than 20 arrests, but dozens likely got away. These kinds of smash and grab crimes have become all too common, forcing a growing number of retailers to try to combat the thefts. This morning, one of them, Target, is taking drastic action to reduce retail crime. The company announcing it'll shut down 9 stores by the end of October, 3 in both San Francisco and Portland, 2 in Seattle, and 1 in New York City. The company blaming the closures on theft and organized retail crime, threatening the safety of our team and guests.
This is crazy. They're locking up the toothpaste.
The move comes after videos from inside Target stores went viral, showing everyday items locked behind security glass, frustrating shoppers.
Since when did my local Target start locking everything up?
Those locked cases, just one of the ways the retailer says it tried to deal with shoplifting, saying despite our efforts, we continue to face fundamental challenges to operating these stores. Target is not alone. In 2021, Walgreens closed 5 locations in San Francisco over shoplifting fears. And while Walmart and Nordstrom have also closed some locations in major cities, neither blamed crime. Still, in a newly released survey conducted by the National Retail Federation, 88% of responding retailers said shoplifters have become more aggressive, and 28% say they had to close some locations due to crime.
Retailers are experiencing unprecedented levels of theft, crime, and violence in their stores.
Now, as another major retailer shuts down stores, retail crime threatens to knock the industry off target.
The National Retail Federation says retailers have lost more than $100 billion because of thefts and robberies like those smash and grabs. All of this happening right before the Christmas holiday season gets ready to ramp up. Back to you.
All right, Miguel, thank you so much. Now to the conflict in Azerbaijan. Thousands of Armenians took to the streets, fleeing their homes in the war-torn Nagorno-Karabakh region. Departure made worse by an explosion at a fuel depot that killed dozens. NBC News foreign correspondent Matt Bradley has the latest.
They're arriving by the thousands. A growing exodus of ethnic Armenians from the besieged breakaway region of Nagorno-Karabakh in Azerbaijan. All of us were crying, and I want to cry right now as I speak, this woman said, because I left everything. Some 20,000 displaced civilians have arrived in Armenia, according to its government, after enduring an intense 2 days of Azerbaijani shelling and fighting. Many of them were injured, others starved by Azerbaijan's 10-month blockade. It was a nightmare. There are no words to describe it, said this woman. The village was heavily shelled. Almost no one is left in the village. An added tragedy, an explosion at a fuel depot killed at least 68 people and injured scores more. These refugees have lost more than their homes. They've also lost their homeland. For many, this exodus marks a final defeat after decades of conflict. Separatist leaders accepted a surrender agreement on Tuesday that gave Azerbaijan full control of the region.
Those people are really exhausted and that there is a lot of malnutrition. So it's really hard for them even to just walk or arrive here.
Journalist Astrag Agopian was at the Armenian border with Azerbaijan reporting on the refugees.
Many of them are from villages which were taken by the Azerbaijani army, so they really lost their homes already. And there is really this feeling that this time is different. It's another war, but it's a war that is definitely lost this time.
Many are calling the Armenians' flight an example of ethnic cleansing, including Armenia's prime minister. The Armenians in Nagorno-Karabakh continue to face danger of ethnic cleansing, he said. In recent days, humanitarian aid arrived in Nagorno-Karabakh, but it didn't change the situation. Samantha Power, the head of America's USAID, declined to use that term, but she cited troubling reports of violence against civilians and pledged $11.5 million in American humanitarian aid. Azerbaijan's government has said Armenians are safe to remain in the enclave. But after decades of war and a crippling blockade, few Armenians believe them. The war was among a number of ethnic conflicts left in the wake of the breakup of the Soviet Union. Russia historically backed Armenia and deployed a peacekeeping force to the region after it brokered peace in 2020. But lately, Armenia has made overtures to the West, antagonizing Moscow. And Russia may feel it has more to gain from Azerbaijan in its access to oil and pipelines.
The pivotal factor was that Azerbaijan was talking separately to the Russians and has a joint agenda with the Russians to pressure Armenia and also to keep the West out of the Caucasus.
But regardless of who's to blame, for many here, this conflict and the dream of an Armenian Nagorno-Karabakh have already been lost. And it looks like this conflict is over after 30 years. But now the next political conflict looks like it could be against the prime minister of Armenia. Now, those Armenian residents of Nagorno-Karabakh were outraged by the behavior of the Armenian prime minister. They said that he needlessly antagonized Moscow by cozying up to the West, and that then he capitulated in the face of Azerbaijani aggression.
All right, Matt Bradley, thank you so much. Some breaking news now. North Korea says it is expelling U.S. soldier Travis King. This comes 2 months after he dashed across the border into the country's territory. NBC News foreign correspondent Janice Mackey-Frayer has more.
There's actually very little we know right now. KCNA is reporting that North Korea has decided to expel Travis King, the American soldier who willingly crossed the border into one of the world's most hostile countries. KCNA says that Private Second Class King, who's 23, confessed to illegally entering North Korea. It also says North Korea says that he harbored ill feelings over, quote, inhumane treatment and racial discrimination in the U.S. Army. King crossed the border in July during a guided tour of the joint security area that divides North and South Korea, where he had been released from a detention facility on assault charges and was expected to return to the U.S. Because Travis King crossed into North Korea as a civilian, the U.S. had not yet designated him a prisoner of war, and it still isn't clear what sort of diplomatic intervention might have taken place. Where King is now, where he's being expelled to, where he is going, all still uncertain. But KCNA is saying that Travis King will soon no longer be inside North Korea.
All right, Janice, thank you so much. Coming up, marking a milestone. Google celebrates 25 years, can you believe it, since it burst onto our computer screens. We're going to take a look back at the tech titan's huge rise and what's next. That's coming up. We're back now with an alarming new report from the CDC. Drug overdoses from fake pills, often laced with fentanyl, are on the rise. NBC News correspondent Marissa Parra shows us the toll it's taking on families.
These photos are all Elizabeth Dillander has to keep her son's memory alive.
He's the funniest person I've ever met in my life. He didn't have an enemy. He just made everybody laugh.
20-year-old Cade Webb was athletic. He loved skateboarding and snowboarding. And above all else, he was excited to become a father. But just weeks before his daughter was born, Cade's mother got the call she'd been dreading for years.
His stepmom just called me screaming, like screams that you never want to hear.
On December 3rd, 2021, Cade lost his battle with addiction. He died in Roseville, California, found collapsed in a Safeway bathroom.
When they found my son, the detective had contacted us and said that they had the pills tested that were with Cade and that they had detected fentanyl.
Dillander is now part of a club she never asked to be in. They're grieving loved ones left behind from overdose.
It robbed my family of a really great future.
Kaylee Duggar's fiance, Jake Carter, was about to turn 24 years old. They were expecting a baby and a new life together. But the night before his birthday, Carter died in his sleep, and another child was robbed of a parent.
Every time I look at my daughter, I'm reminded that he should be here when she hits milestones. You know, I don't have him here to share that moment with him.
These are the stories that the Centers for Disease Control says are only growing with time. In a September report, the CDC says the numbers of drug overdose deaths from fake pills have more than doubled. From 2019 to 2021, it's gone from 2% to 4.7%. And the majority of deaths among people younger than age 35, just like Jake.
He had been looking for oxycodone, and then we got the autopsy report like 4 months later, and he had 10 times the lethal amount of fentanyl in his system.
The CDC says fake pills are often laced with fentanyl, illegally disguised as anti-anxiety meds or painkillers, and often bought on the streets or from friends. Dillander says her son thought he was buying from someone he could trust.
I think he mildly considered him a friend at the time and had requested some Percocet, and it wasn't. It was fentanyl. And he died instantly.
Experts say not only does fentanyl make illicit drugs more powerful, fentanyl makes the process for sellers cheaper.
It's easy to store, it's easy to transport, and there's a very limited regulatory oversight of the components necessary to make it.
The odorless and scentless nature of fentanyl makes buying unprescribed drugs an increasingly deadly gamble.
Taking an illicit pill is like playing Russian roulette.
And for Dillander, it cost her family everything.
I had to kiss my son in a casket. I had to brush his bangs off his forehead and hold his cold hand and realize that staring at his face was the last time I would ever see it.
Since Cade's death, his mom has tried to find new meaning. She started a podcast called Dear Fentanyl, a goodbye letter.
I really hope that this will be impactful and an avenue to make change to save lives.
The same name of the letter Cade penned from rehab. In it, the warning signs she wished she'd spotted earlier.
I'm the worst outcome possible. So if I have one thing that I could share with somebody to make a difference in their life or save their child, it's whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes to spare someone else the pain she lives through every day. Marissa Parra, NBC News.
All right, so back in the late 1990s, it was all about searching on Yahoo and browsing the internet on Netscape. I remember that. Then along came a search website with a curious name, Google. Its products would eventually change how we find information, how we communicate, how we collaborate, even how we drive. NBC's Harry Smith is here with a look back and a look into the future. Hello.
Google, the noun that became a verb, right? We went to Mountain View, California to look into Google's history and to look into the future. The Googleplex has a kind of college-y vibe. But here, pursuit of the near impossible supersedes beer pong. Google, initially called Backrub, was conceived in a nearby Stanford dorm room, and true to Silicon Valley startup legend, moved to a garage 25 years ago.
My parents had never heard of Google at the time. Most people hadn't.
Engineer Jen Fitzpatrick joined the company a year later.
And I think my dad thought I was a little bit nuts going to this tiny little company that no one had ever heard of, and as far as he was concerned, was probably going to be out of business before long.
Jen's desk, a wooden door propped up by sawhorses. Back then, when she showed Google to people in coffee shops, they were mystified.
It's like people were sometimes intimidated by the big white blank page with a box in the middle, but they didn't know what to type.
That blank space has propagated a slew of offspring, from Gmail in 2001 to Maps in 2005. They bought YouTube in 2006 and launched Chrome and Android in 2008. Now Google's top products serve some 2 billion people each, and Alphabet, Google's holding company, is worth more than $1 trillion. For Gen Zers and new employees, Lucas Gonzalez and Anousheh Sheikh, the world was always at their fingertips, online.
We don't remember a time before Google, so I think we're best equipped to understand the changes that are happening.
The technology they work on was for decades out of reach.
I work on responsible AI, artificial intelligence at Google.
I work at Google DeepMind on our large model efforts.
Both whip-smart and irrepressibly optimistic about AI's possibilities. Google's big bet for the next 25 years. And for the AI-wary, this thought.
Think about maybe how you felt when you first traveled on a plane, or when you first used a PC or logged onto the internet. I think for new things, there's still this discovery phase where you have to try something out and see what it's like.
Google's conversational chatbot AI is called Bard, a late competitor to OpenAI's ChatGPT. Shakespeare, it's not. Yet.
Where is AI right now?
I think the latest generation of generative AI is an infant. It is very early.
Sissy Shao is a vice president and general manager at Google, overseeing Bard, which now can plug into Gmail.
What did you ask Bard?
I said, summarize all the emails from my kids' school. As a busy parent, you understand the start of school year is very stressful. You know, inundation of emails, buy this, prepare that, and Bard was able to summarize all that, saved me hours of time, did it in minutes.
From the earliest days, Don't Be Evil has been embedded in Google's ethos. So we asked,
will Bard be fair and unbiased?
Our design with Bard is to be neutral and unbiased. We do feel like the right thing to do is to show people like a diversity of opinions on any particular topic.
But AI still concerns a lot of people. Numerous tech industry leaders have called for a moratorium on AI development, but not Shao, not Google.
I think that with any technology, good actors and bad actors will have access to it. And I think it's really about having industry and governments really work together to make sure that protections are put in place so that these technologies are applied for the immense good that they can capture and also protect against the downsides.
Downsides? How about job security for old news guys?
So in this exercise of doing our deep dive here, we actually asked Bard to come up with some questions to ask you. Can you guess which one it was?
No, I can't guess, but Bard's pretty good at coming up with questions.
It was the one about, will Bard be fair and unbiased?
Ah, good job, Bard. It's a good question.
So this is part of the race now. Who's going to dominate that space? It's almost like 25 years ago. Which also should say, you saw how big Alphabet, Google has become, $1.7 trillion company. That's part of the reason for monopolistic allegations that the attorneys general of the United States and all of the states have said, we need to break these guys up.
I look forward to your story 25 years from now when we look back at this moment of you and I sitting here wondering what was next.
Yeah, we might not be here. AI will replace us.
Harry Smith, as always, thank you
Pleasure.
so much. Stay with us. More Morning News Now after this. We're back now with a look at the staggering cost that repairing old Navy ships is having for taxpayers. This as a billion-dollar Navy ship in Virginia has been stuck sitting in dry dock under maintenance for the past 6 years. NBC News Pentagon correspondent Courtney Cubey reports on the growing outrage.
Growing outrage that billions of dollars of taxpayer money is being sunk into Navy ships that may never be ready to go back into battle. Here in Norfolk, Virginia, we found old ships docked for delayed maintenance. Critics say they should be retired. Instead, the Navy keeps pouring money into repairs.
Maintenance for U.S. Navy ships is so backed up that we found this ship, the USS Vicksburg. It's been here in Virginia for 6 years, and we've learned it's not likely to ever go back out to sea.
The Navy awarded $500 million to modernize the Vicksburg, and it's still not done. Then there's the 31-year-old U.S. attack submarine, the USS Boise, under repair for 8 years. Earlier this month, lawmakers grilling Navy officials.
There's really no excuse. I think it's time for a hair-on-fire task force on this issue.
The Navy is cutting down repair times, but the backlog still costs taxpayers billions, according to Diana Maurer with the watchdog Government Accountability Office.
It just does not make a lot of sense to have a ship sit in maintenance for 6 years, performing no missions, where they're spending tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars on a modernization that may never actually be put out to sea again.
The Navy has said each year they ask Congress to retire old ships, but lawmakers object because the repair work guarantees jobs in their districts, and others think they need as many ships as possible, no matter their condition, to deter China. The Vicksburg is docked near Congressman Rob Whitman's Virginia district. He tells us he's opposed to retiring the ship and blames the Navy for failing to manage the repairs. But now he says the retirement could be a given.
They've spent hundreds of millions of dollars on it. Was that a waste of taxpayer dollars at this point?
Well, I think you could certainly make an argument if you're going to now salvage that ship, so all that money that you've spent there is not going to relate to military readiness. Then yes, I think you could make an argument to say that that was a waste of money.
I think a lot of viewers might watch this and say, okay, we spent hundreds of millions of dollars and 6 years on this ship.
Yes.
And it's sitting there and it's not likely to ever go back out to sea.
Yes.
So how do you explain to them how that happened?
Well, they should be frustrated like I am, and I would say in several areas, it's a breakdown in execution of repairing that ship. This should be a lesson for us never to repeat this again.
In a statement to NBC News, the Navy Secretary vowed to extend the life of ships whenever possible. But he added that continuing to spend money on outdated systems is not a smart use of taxpayer funds and does not deter adversaries like China.
All right, Courtney, thank you so much. Financial headlines now. Consulting firm McKinsey has agreed to settle hundreds of lawsuits related to the opioid epidemic. CNBC's Silvana Henao joins us with more on how much they're going to be paying and other money news. Silvana, good morning.
Hey, Joe, good morning to you. That's right. So McKinsey has agreed to pay $230 million to settle lawsuits by hundreds of local governments and school districts. They allege the consulting firm fueled the opioid epidemic through its work for OxyContin maker Purdue Pharma and other drug companies. The settlement, which must still be approved by a judge, is on top of the $641 million McKinsey has already paid to settle claims by state attorneys general. Thousands of hospitality workers in Las Vegas have voted to authorize a strike that could impact more than 36 hotels and casinos. The Culinary Workers Union hasn't gone on strike in more than 3 decades. The union is continuing to bargain for better pay, benefits, and working conditions with the top casino employers on the Vegas Strip, including MGM Resorts, Caesars, and Wynn Resorts. And more than half of workers say they feel behind on their retirement savings, including more than 2/3 who say they're significantly behind. A new survey by Bankrate finds only 25% of people say they're contributing more to their retirement savings this year compared to last year, while 22% say they didn't contribute last year and won't do so this year. Nearly 1/3 of workers say they would need to save more than $1 million to retire comfortably, Joe.
All right, Silvana, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Now to an unforgettable experience for one Beyonce fan. An Oregon man with cerebral palsy was turned away from a flight to a concert because the plane could not accommodate his wheelchair. But as NBC News Digital reporter Maya Eaglin reports, once the Beehive heard his story online, they came to the rescue.
An Oregon man's dream trip gone in an instant.
Well, guess I'm not going to Seattle and I'm not seeing Beyonce.
John Hetherington, who has cerebral palsy, booked an Alaska Airlines flight from Eugene to Seattle to see Beyonce live in concert. But when he arrived, the attendants told him they could not accommodate his electric-powered wheelchair.
They tell me that my chair is apparently 4 inches too tall to be loaded onto the plane.
The Department of Transportation only requires airlines to transport manual wheelchairs in the cabin of an aircraft. In a statement to NBC News, Alaska Airlines saying, "We feel terrible about our guests' travel experience with us. We tried to reaccommodate our guests on another flight, but no viable options were available.
People with disabilities have challenges every single day, and the lack of accessible air travel is just, unfortunately, one more hurdle.
Hetherington taking to social media, telling his story to his 23,000 TikTok followers.
Ableism strikes again.
The video going viral, racking up more than 100,000 views. Beyonce fans sharing the video with Queen Bee herself, Jay-Z, and her team. Then, the moment Hetherington thought would never come. Beyonce's team arranging for Hetherington to travel to Texas for another show and scoring him floor seats. Other fans recognizing him, cheering him on as he entered the stadium. Hetherington sharing this image from the concert, telling his followers, "We partied, we sang, we danced. Beehive, you made this happen." Hetherington meeting Beyonce's mother, Tina Knowles, posing for a picture with Beyonce's backup dancers, receiving a pair of drumsticks from the concert signed by the drummer Diamond Johnson. And then this, Beyonce herself stopping by to meet and embrace her devoted fan. His image now adorning her tour website. An irreplaceable memory for John that's also bringing awareness to challenges Americans with disabilities face every day. Maya Eklund, NBC News.
Welcome back. Let's revisit a story we've been covering all this week, that potential romance between Taylor Swift and Kansas City Chiefs tight end Travis Kelce. Now, as everyone knows by now, Swift was spotted alongside Kelce's mom, cheering him on at Arrowhead Stadium Sunday. Now Kelce has spoken about the episode on his podcast, New Heights. Take a listen.
We've been avoiding this subject out of respect for your personal life. Now we got to talk about it.
Yeah, my personal life, that's not so personal.
Yeah, well.
I did this to myself, Jason. I know this.
Well, Trav, how's it feel that Taylor Swift has finally put you on the map?
I want to know the answer. Kelce is experiencing a new level of fame this week. You know, his 3.3 million followers on Instagram, and the Chiefs have a ton of new fans. So hopefully there won't be any bad blood anytime soon. Stay tuned.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.